Okay, so here are the materials you need for a Bunsen burner lab. You need wire gauze, scupula, crucible tongs, evaporating dish, clay triangle, Bunsen burner, copper sulfate, ring stand, iron ring, matches, and you'll also need a balance to measure your materials. Now here's the setup for your Bunsen burner lab. Put the Bunsen burner on the ring stand securely. Then you're going to take a iron ring and put it on the ring stand and have it be about 2-3 inches above the top of your Bunsen burner, and then move the Bunsen burner to the middle of the ring. You're going to put your clay triangle on your iron ring, and then you're going to put your evaporating dish on the clay triangle. Now it's time to light the Bunsen burner. Just like before, you strike the match first, then turn on the gas and run the match up the side. Your flame should already be adjusted. You're going to hold the Bunsen burner in your hand and gently wave it underneath of the evaporating dish for a couple minutes. This will slowly increase the temperature of the evaporating dish, keeping it from cracking from the sudden amount of heat. When you've done this, it's time to move on to the next step. Now it's time to record the mass of the evaporating dish and then the hydrate. First things first, you zero the balance, make sure that it reads 0. Then using the crucible tongs, you're going to grab the evaporating dish by the edge, place it on the balance, and record the mass of the evaporating dish. The balance reads 35.99 grams. Now re-zero the balance. Now you're going to add the copper sulfate. You need to add approximately 2 grams. So add it a little bit at a time. And once you're near the 2 gram mark, you don't have to be exact. Somewhere near 2 grams would be fine. You might have to take a little bit out. I think that this was good enough. I didn't want to take any more out. And then record the mass. The mass of the copper sulfate to the blue rock was 2.22 grams. Again, close enough. Now it's time to drive off the water from the copper sulfate. So you're going to take the copper sulfate that's in the crucible, in the evaporating dish, put it back onto the ring stand, strike the match, turn your gas, light your Bunsen burner, and now this time you're going to drive off the water again. Again, start by gently getting it warmed up, just like before. And you only have to do this for about 30 seconds, maybe a minute at the most. And what you should see is the blue stone is going to start to get whiter. Let me show you from the top. This is what it looks like from the top, and you can see the blue stone is starting to get white around the edges. It's right now over top the Bunsen burner. You can see that towards the bottom of the picture. And with the scupula, you're going to gently break it up, just enough to try to make sure that it has tiny pieces, but don't try to get too much of the copper sulfate onto the spatula. And then once you've broken it into tiny pieces, just allow it to sit until all of the pieces of copper sulfate turn a light gray white color. And the color change is indicative of the water being driven off. When all the water is gone, the blue stone will be all white or a very light gray color. starts to get dark brown, take it off the heat. You might be burning it, decomposing the copper sulfate a little bit. It takes a lot of heat to do that, so just pay careful attention. You'll notice the rock is a greenish blue color. You want to try to get as much of that blue to go away as possible. So here's the finished product. You'll notice that the hydrate is a white, light gray color. So at that point you can go ahead and turn off the gas and you're ready to mass the copper sulfate. So now it's time to mass the copper sulfate and hydrate. So make sure you zero the balance, grab the evaporating dish with the crucible tongs, place it back on the balance, and record the mass. So what do you think? The current mass is 37.38. Did the mass go up or the mass go down? And that's the lab. All you have to do at this point is clean up your materials. Make sure you rinse the evaporating dish very, very well with water to get out all the bluestone. And put away all your materials once everything has cooled. All that's left from there is doing the calculations. Okay, hold on. There's one more thing. There's something neat you can do with this. If you take your copper sulfate and hydrate, and once you're done with it, you put a little bit of water back on it with a squirt bottle, and it's going to reabsorb that water, and it's going to go back to being blue. Kind of cool. Just a little bonus. Make sure it's not too hot before you do that, otherwise you might crack the evaporating dish.